Elon is stepping down, I guess, as the CEO of Twitter. And so go to his tweet first. And we'll just talk about this. Should I step down as head of Twitter? I will abide by the results of this poll. So he was really getting into the polling, using his account to poll people. And people thought this was like a ballsy one to just go on there and say, hey, should I have this job or not? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And everybody, not everybody, 57% said you should step down.
Majority.
57.5. And 42.5 said, no, you shouldn't. And of course, it's an enormous poll. It has 343 million views. You have 350 million people in the U.S. Wow. Obviously, people voted from other places, but it's an enormous number of people that saw this poll. And votes are not quite as many, obviously. This is just the ratio of things. Nobody votes as much as they look. Nobody likes as much as they
still 17 million
scroll.
votes.
It's still a huge sample size. And people said, yeah, you should step down. And then he, in the reply, says, I will resign as CEO as soon as I find someone foolish enough to take the job. After that, I will just run the software and servers teams. So he's apparently looking for someone to take on this role. I don't, it's tough because here you are on Twitter asking people, the people of Twitter, like a question that I'm sure he's been a very polarizing figure, but none of us have or most of us don't have extremely intimate knowledge of what's going on at Twitter or who would even be a good candidate
or what's right for Twitter. Yeah.
Exactly. And just, obviously, they're trying to. They went in there and they opened access and they brought the journalists and they uncovered everything and all the rest of it. Trying to be transparent and so forth, but I think this is more of an indication of just the sentiment around him as a whole, as opposed to specifically whether or not people think he can do the job, but more so. Just not everybody feeling some of his moves.
Yeah.
Or maybe not everybody having the same, because it's very binary is what I'm saying. Yes, no. Yes, no. That's it. You're not asking anyone to come up with a solution. People might hate the next person.
Of course. They're gonna.
I mean, granted, it's hard to find anyone with such a high profile, and then it's hard to hate anyone that's lacking profile. It's so much easier to hate somebody that's like a big, obvious face. Like the more famous they are, the more hated they are in most cases. It's hard to find an ultra famous person that doesn't have polarizing characteristics.
Maybe the Dalai Lama.
No, I'm sure somebody hates him.
I'm sure someone does.
Yeah. But anyway, so he will resign. He will abide by the poll, as he originally said.
Why put this question out there? Like, did he want it to say yes? So he has like an out?
No, I think his whole pitch, his whole appeal here is that it's like, this is the Democratic
sure, but you're asking a question with two answers. Obviously, he's mapped out what he would do in each answer, or what.
Yeah, I think if he had a vote of confidence at this point that people said, we don't want you to step down, I think he would continue and he'd continue to chip away at it, however he saw fit. But his whole thing is, this is the public forum. The public should have what they want if this is the public forum. And seemingly by the amount that he's using polls and voting, it seems to imply that that's the outcome that he wants. That the people will decide, that people will choose. And who knows, maybe he'll throw another poll for the next time the next CEO comes. You want this guy, yes or no? And then people, whatever. And then it lets the users have ownership over the outcomes that take place on Twitter. And the successes, the failures, and everything. You know how that works. You take ownership over it, pride of ownership. Maybe your behavior changes. So it's an interesting experiment. I don't know. It's kind of unprecedented. You're letting the people of the social media platform vote directly on decisions at the platform.
Like, how much of that 57% is just Tesla fans being like, go back to running Tesla?
Some of it. Absolutely. That's you.
Well, yeah.
You just basically outed yourself. That was your vote.
Yeah, that is actually. I have no interest in Twitter, and I would have voted yes. I didn't, but I would have voted yes.
There's actually a lot of reasons to vote yes in this case.
Yeah.
It's not just you.
It's not also just Twitter.
There's less crossover than I think you might expect when you think of Elon's fan base and you think of Tesla and SpaceX and Neuralink and
the Boring Company.
These like engineering and science and so forth, and then Twitter. It didn't really slot in the most obvious of ways.
Yeah, it's not in the same family.
And then it's inherently more political and it's inherently more philosophical and less engineering based. And so I think a lot of that crowd was like, maybe like you. Yeah, you are. I'm not super into this idea. And I'm more curious to see what you would do elsewhere in other enterprises. And the fact that, I mean, directly it was funded from essentially Tesla money. Well, I mean, it's his money, but you understand what I'm saying? That like
Tesla dropped like 10% in one day. I think it was not too long after he pulled out $3 billion for
Well, there's a lot of factors going on here, and I know that you're very connected to this stock price. So if you want, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Don't look at that. 5 days, Will? Hit 5 days. I mean, that's a huge drop.
Go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, I think it's because he took out some $3 billion. I don't really know too much about why he took it out. But, yeah.
People say it's to fund Twitter.
Yeah, okay. So then see what I mean? Like, if I'm a Tesla shareholder, which I am, I would be kind of annoyed that I'm like, oh, you're taking money out to run that thing. And they don't even really want you to run that thing. Will, put your mic, or Loop, get your mic back. There's nothing more I can say. This is such a upsetting number for me to look at.
Yeah, it's in the red. It's very sad.
It's deep in the red. I wonder what the bottom is.
No, because now we can have a clip. We can have a clip now. Tesla shareholder loses it live.
You want me to lose it?
Over share price. Right now we have a clip. So go ahead and just go ahead and lose it right now, Mo. Go, starting now.
I've already lost it. I've lost all of my money.
It's just most.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I bought at peak. Horrible time to buy. But my God, ever since then, things have not been, minus all macroeconomic stuff, just the business and the leadership. It's been tough. It's been tough to root for this guy and this company lately.
So are you holding? Is that the advice or no?
Yeah, I am holding. Not advice. This is not financial advice at all.
Okay.
But I am holding. I don't know. I still really think the business is really cool and has a lot in store for the future. But times are tough right now. Times are tough.
Yeah, I hear you.
You got your lost it.
And rant.
Yeah, and rant.
Well, the other part of it that you're leaving out is that this video on LaterClips is about to come out where Will chooses whether he's going to endorse Ford in the new Bronco or Tesla with the Model 3.
Because I'm sure Elon's listening.
Well, this is going to sway the stock price, obviously.
Of course.
So we got to reserve our judgment here.